Okay, we're on. We're back.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
It's been a little bit.
It's been a little while. Well,
We
this
took
is
a week off.
Yeah, we did take a week
actually.
off. I know. Some of the episodes might be airing out of order, but we are back.
Yeah, we're here.
We feel like we took a break and we're back for what is now what we're recording, episode 19.
Yes.
Good to be back.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
I can't
Welcome
believe
back from sunny St.
thanks.
Bart's.
Yeah, it was so nice.
I'm jealous.
So frazzled and out of it. And if I say something crazy, I apologize in advance.
Well, we started our podcast a little bit earlier too, and so we're rushing to get here.
Yes. Why was that such a rush?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
And there was traffic.
You would think it would be easier to get here to a place, any place. I know you had traffic. I had crazy.
So we're frazzled.
Kids leaving
You were
the
kind
house.
enough to get coffee, so thank you.
Yes, I wasn't.
Cheers.
Actually, I was 5 minutes late, but I got a coffee. So
Priorities.
there's my priorities. I am embarrassed to admit I am 5 minutes late because I got coffee, but
Oh my
much
goodness.
needed on this rainy
Yeah.
morning. It's rainy.
Oh wow. It's
Um,
rainy.
Yeah, and I love your
Lauren's back
combo.
to reality. Thank
Back to
you.
reality. I already told you, but I love the little pink
I
popped
got
collar.
my Kit Polo,
That is
which
so
I'm obsessed
cute.
with. I'm going to be wearing this a lot.
Yeah, that
this
is-
like me.
Yeah, you in a top.
Yeah.
It's preppy, it's
With
comfy,
a cream blazer.
and
for
it's
a little,
stylish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, with the cream blazer, it looks so good. And both of those
Thanks.
things are in stock on our site right now.
Yeah.
As is my lavender summer set,
Somerset.
which I'm
Not to be
loving.
mistaken with our summer sets.
Yes, Somerset, one word. And this is like the perfect thing to put on this morning because I just like didn't know what to wear.
Yeah.
Out of it.
I
It's
hear you.
raining. My closet, I'm just sick of all the stuff. Like I'm ready
Right.
for spring.
It's ready for spring transition
Oh, I
right
just want
now.
to clean it all
I
out. I'm
agree.
sick of all my boots too. Like I
Mm-hmm.
put on my Rothy's this morning, which are so good in the rain, and I just was done with rain
Right.
boots, even though it's
Yeah.
cold. So
Hear
we're
ya.
ready for spring.
We're ready.
Yeah. Anyway, we have a fun topic today that I'm really excited to discuss. When this episode airs, we will have a drop that week or possibly tomorrow if we're dropping everything on time and the episode drops on time. April 1st will be our next drop, and it is a really good one.
So good.
April Fools. This is not a joke. We have our new Phoebe tops dropping, which I already posted on
my
Instagram,
gosh.
and a lot of ladies were asking what it is. Zip up, popped collar, stripe
Fun
situation.
stripes.
Yeah,
Some fun like color blocking with stripe type
exactly. A
situations.
navy.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we have our Marion zip up pullover, which is also, I predict, going to sell well. Red place striped,
Yes.
more boxy, cropped fit, shorter fit. And then our Brighton boat necks, one in cream and one in our navy place stripe. So the navy place stripe is like that classic boat neck style. And that tips our ladies and us. We love that
Yeah.
place stripe. So
And there's a red, white, and blue theme, which is starting April 1st and
yes,
continuing
we'll continue.
for a
Yeah.
few drops.
Yep.
Which is great for Memorial Day, July 4th.
Exactly.
Just summer
Yeah.
funness.
So look out for that drop on April 1st. And
Well, it's funny you were saying it's red, white, and blue, of course, but there's a lot of stripes, and you were
yes.
shooting in St. Bart's with a
Right,
new
which is
photographer.
French. Yeah.
And
And,
the
he was French and he was like, this is very French. And I was like, oh, I guess it could go
American,
both
French,
ways.
yeah.
Yeah. So the color
However
theme,
you wanna wear it.
Yeah. However your country, red, white, and blue, whatever country you're in,
Right.
it can apply to that. It was very hot shooting fleece on the beach
Oh
in
my
90
gosh.
degrees, but we had to do it. I had to do it. It's just funny how our business is so intertwined with our lives that like whenever we're traveling, it just makes sense to take photos wherever we are in a beautiful destination. So
Can't let that go. You can't
No.
pass that up.
you really can. And I also had to talk my daughter into it, which was challenging, but she got through it. We survived. Even though it's really hard shooting with kids. It's
That was funny.
so
And
hard.
then in the office, we're like, we don't have a single shot of Elle by herself in the Greenbrier that
Nope,
she was shooting.
we
And I was
did
like,
not.
Lauren, did you get this? And you're like, no.
No.
And you didn't follow up with, we'll try to get one. It was like, no, we didn't get it.
It's so hard, you guys. And she wants nothing to do with it. And I don't want to force her to do something she doesn't
Yeah.
want to do. So,
Right.
you know, we actually pay the kids. I think we've talked about that before on
Yeah.
the podcast. Like we either pay them or let them get a toy when they
Get
work.
them something.
Because it's work.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're, putting in time and it's not fun to stand there and
Right.
Most kids don't like pictures.
No, especially at the age that they're at.
Yeah.
I feel like when they were little, it was hard because they were wild, but they still liked the picture part of it.
Yeah, because they would play. You could play with them and distract them and
Right.
give them candy.
Now they just don't want pictures taken of
They
themselves, and
just
they get
don't.
grumpy.
I know. So I try to respect it and follow her lead a little bit on like, because I also don't want her to hate it too. For Dudley Stevens, I want her to have a nice association with it. So if I kind of make it positive, it tends to work the best. So
Right.
we did that. She did her thing and got in a few photos with me. And then she said, I'm done. And I was like, okay, we're done.
Good
And
job.
we'll try to. And it was so hot. I mean,
Yeah.
she was hot, and I was hot, but we know how to deal with it better.
Right.
She's 7. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, we're
lot.
done here. And actually this topic is very relevant to our conversation today. What is a family business? And why a family business?
Why family?
Yeah. And we'll deep dive today on how important family businesses are. And I think in my research and, a little bit of light reading before today in this podcast, I found some interesting facts, and it prompted interesting things for me to think about as it relates to our family business.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wrote some other things down that I can't wait to share with you to see if you agree with me. Anyway, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah. We, as we've always talked about, we always wanted to start a business together. And then when Mom had the idea, it was like, awesome, let's do it. And Lauren took it and ran with it. And it was a side hustle for me at the time.
Yes.
I had another job.
Yeah, you had a
as
full-time
we've
job.
discussed. But Lauren took it, ran with it. My mom and Lauren went and
We dove in with the samples.
Right in,
Yeah.
the samples, and you found the factory.
Yep.
And
fabric
I did
everything.
what I could from my desk at my other
Yes.
job and in my off hours.
Yeah, you did.
So I
Building
think
the
just
site.
like how we kind of structured, and we can talk about structure and
Yeah.
stuff first, and
Yes.
then kind of go into some other details. But
Yep.
how we structured is we knew that there was always going to be a lead. And I
Yeah.
think that helps with decision making and arguments, especially
Yeah.
like family arguments, like that you don't,
Yeah.
we're a family.
It happens,
at the
guys.
heart, right?
We're not going to
So-
sit here and say it doesn't
Right.
happen.
We wanted there to be a lead. So
Yeah.
percentage wise, Lauren is our lead, and that's how we kind of think about it. Just like any other business, you have a CEO.
Yeah.
And that's Lauren's the boss lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lauren's boss
And actually,
lady.
Khaki has what's it called? Every year at Christmas, you give me a coffee mug with a funny
Yeah.
saying on it, and I still have the boss lady.
The boss lady one.
I'm saving them all.
Right.
Yeah, but I think it's important to have that.
It's important to have that, and I think it helps. And yeah, I kind of take a back seat in some of that
Yeah,
role, which is something that
I mean,
is-
yes, kind of, but I value your opinion so much that I think
Yeah.
we both share a lot
Right.
with it. Yeah.
but I just mean I know my role. I'm here to help and support you in ways, and I
Right.
think that is valuable in itself. Whereas you
So
are
the most
CEO,
valuable.
so
Yeah.
you
So
kind of have to
valuable.
define your roles a little bit, which I think we've done.
Yes, 100%. And that I wrote that down as one of my things that I can't wait to discuss too.
Yeah.
I think it's so important for that, to define a role and embrace it and know that that's what you're there to do. And then as the lead, you have to embrace that you're quote unquote the leader, which is also an unintended thing for a business founder too, especially in a family business. You don't set out to be a leader necessarily. You're not getting hired in this role as a CEO of a large company where you know
Right.
you're going to be a leader.
Right.
It's you're starting out with a small thing and then
That you're doing yourself.
That you're doing
we're doing it together, but
there's no one working for you in the beginning.
You're
Yeah,
packing the
exactly.
orders, and you're
Yeah.
you're doing all the things.
Yes.
Right.
So, and then all of a sudden you find yourself employing 5 people and leading them. And that's another role that you have to accept
Yeah.
and embrace as well, even though it's a family business.
Right.
Because we don't have enough family members to do all the things that need to get done. So there are non-family members involved.
Yes.
But the family business would be defined as a business that is owned, I would say 50% or more by the family. So Hermes, still pretty sure over 50% owned by the Hermes family.
Wow.
Which is obviously a very extreme example, but I don't know about Walmart, but they're obviously a family business, So, Ford like Estee Lauder. These are just names that came up as I was kind of researching like family businesses.
Very household.
Very household
popular
names that were started by Estee Lauder, a woman, and her son then eventually took over. So maybe multiple sons and granddaughters. Like I think their whole family is still involved. So I think it's such a fascinating thing to talk about. And as I was thinking through this topic today, one of the things that I was thinking about is that I feel like social media and the internet and just like online and digital, I think we're moving away from like desk jobs. And I think it relates to this family business and how important family business is to our economy and our society. And we're all like, I really think that like the 9 to 5 being tied at your desk is no more. And it's not to say that there isn't desk work to be done, because there is. Like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing more I love than like sitting down at my desk and like firing out emails and, you know, being on my computer and getting organized.
Knocking things off your list.
But I'm just saying like that 8 hours of down and dirty at a desk, like in a cubicle, I think over time is going to be less and less. Like we're in this new world of digital families, you know, like you have influencers that are, you know, only growing in their influence and their businesses. And they're typically a family business, you know, and then you have us and you have entrepreneurs and I think I'm going to find the stat now, but such a large part of our economy is run by family businesses.
I think it was like at least 30%.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Here, family-owned businesses account for over 30% of companies with sales over $1 billion.
Over $1 billion.
So that's obviously not small businesses, but that's a lot.
That is a lot.
30%.
Right.
So imagine how much it is for the small businesses. It's even more, right? 44% of 400 member Fortunes, Forbes 400. So Forbes 400 would be like top 400 companies. 44% of those were derived by being a member or in association with a family business. So that's like almost half.
Right.
Which is crazy to me.
That is crazy.
And it's obvious, and we could say that, but when you sit down and think about it, like
I know, like why?
Yeah.
Like, why is that?
Right.
And I mean, I know just like from our family business, when we have downs, and it's like, sometimes we're like, all right, why are we doing this?
Yes.
And then we like think about how we're doing it together and we're family and like there's an emotional component.
Emotional capital.
Oh, hey.
That's what it's called. I saw that. I was like, yes, we have that. Like you have to have that.
Yes.
You have to have.
That keeps you going.
Yeah.
And like we can have our arguments, but at the end of the day, we're sisters.
Yeah.
We're going to get on the phone again an hour later and be like,
what's up
now? You know? So it's not like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a strong emotional partnership.
Yeah. For me, I'd like to answer your question of why I feel free in a family business. Like in a corporation, I felt so stuck.
Yes,
and like,
I did too, yeah.
Yeah, like you're there and you're stuck at your desk, even if you're done with your work that day. And at least our generation would stay until our bosses left. The younger generation don't. We could talk about that on another episode.
Right.
Gen Zers, if you're listening, stay until your bosses do at the office. Or ask.
Luckily, our employees do. Like we leave at 4. So.
Yeah, I know. They don't have to worry about that. But when I was there, my bosses would stay until 6:37, 8 at night. And I would stay, even if I had nothing to do, and I'd stay and ask them what they needed, or I'd ask if I could go home, which I
like
was still too scared.
Facebook or
exactly. Probably Facebook and G-chatting you probably and mom. But no, I feel for me, it's like a freedom being part of a family business, because I feel like my priorities can be in line with what I want them to be. So whether that would be work as priority or kids or marriage, like and it changes every day because there's different things going on or whatever. But like, you know, if I have a thing with the kids or I need to be out for a doctor's appointment, like I'm not asking anybody to go do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you are boss. You are the boss.
But no one on our team asked me if they could go to a doctor's appointment.
Yeah,
I don't want them to.
I mean, I think that's just the morale of our office vibe. Like, as long as you get your work done, do you know? And I think that's important to us. But I also think like having a family business, we know each other outside of the business.
Yeah.
Right. Like you didn't hire me. I didn't hire you to work for you.
Exactly.
Like we've known each other since we were babies. So we know that there's a personal side and like we're more invested in our relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
On that level than the business level.
And I think that's exactly right. You just said it. And I think that's why it's so awesome that like, and that's why so many people start family businesses.
Yeah.
It's like that comfort of like knowing who the person is. The other funny thing I read was family-owned companies present special challenges to those who run them. They can be quirky, developing unique cultures and procedures as they grow and mature. And I thought that was so funny, the word quirky, because I feel like that probably is our culture.
Or quirky.
Little quirky. Things aren't done exactly how they normally are. But I think it like, and then the next sentence is, that is fine as long as they continue to be managed by people who are steeped in the traditions or at least able to adopt them. So that meaning that like the people that you hire take on your culture and your quirkiness and like understand it. Because I think that also can be issue. Like if you bring in someone that doesn't vibe or like understand it, like then there can be an issue and just a personality conflict.
Totally. Which we've had.
Yeah. Which is so hard because it has nothing to do with anyone doing anything wrong. It's just like, that's the way that works.
Click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that it was so interesting reading about all this and thinking about all the huge family companies that are out there, that, you know, to go back to the emotional capital, like without even doing anything, just being together and having this company, we are both invested in the financial capital and success and the emotional capital and success. Like those two things are very close for us. Whereas I think in like a large corporation or, you know, not a non-family business, there might be a little less of that.
Right. It's easier to step aside and be like, all right, I'm done here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
If we did that, it would be like, so, the next Thanksgiving dinner would be a little awkward.
But also you can't. Like you're in it. I mean, you could, but like you're really just in it.
Yeah.
The business is as much the family, you know, as
true.
It's like reminds me of the quote from The Godfather where it's like, no one betrays the family. Like it kind of is that. Like it's you're so protective of it, and it is the family. It's not just, you know, the business, and it's all intertwined. No matter how many times you want to unintertwine it, if that's a word. But no, I think that I really believe that these things like social media and all of these things are changing the landscape in terms of these desk cubicle corporate jobs. And I think AI and like all of these other jobs are going to be probably eliminated over the course of the next 5 to 10 years. And then what will replace that? Because people have to work and make a living. Entrepreneurship, family business, digital presences, like digital businesses. I just think that all of these things that we should keep talking about, because for our kids and generations, like what are they going to do, and what are their skills too? I think that's also something else I wanted to mention. Like these skill sets are going to be so important with all these new technologies and ways of living. And I don't know, not to be like too deep about it, but I just think it's an antiquated thing. I
think as new technology is invented, some jobs are deleted, but new jobs are also formed, right? So it's like changing the talents, like you said, and like what we can, I don't know, how we go from there.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly. So another thing that I wrote down that I was mentioning earlier that I was going to read through and get your thoughts on, which we kind of have already talked on, but to leave this episode, if you're listening to this and wanting to start something with your family, or your sister or your mom, I think mother-daughter businesses are wonderful too. Like it's such a great way to be with mom, and I don't know, it's really fun.
It's fun.
But here are my 4 keys to a successful family business. Number 1, create a hierarchy.
Yes.
Which you eloquently said earlier.
Very important.
Nothing should ever be 50-50.
Yeah.
You can't. You need to have someone who has 51 and 49 or like even 1%. There's always someone who came up with the idea first or who dove in first, and like that person should lead the way and be very like, okay, so here's the percentage. We're going to create it. We're going to agree to it. And typically when you file an LLC with your state, you have to submit an articles of organization, which we did. And that will lay out all the ownership and like roles and responsibilities and members of like a
Yeah.
quote unquote board, which really isn't a board. It's just like,
That was so important to us to start, though.
Yeah.
We were like, we need to define our roles.
yes, exactly.
To protect
Yeah.
our family.
Yeah.
Or the family unit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that when the emotional capital gets tough, you've got that.
You've
to
got
fall
the
back
business
on.
part. Yeah.
You've got that to fall back on.
Right.
Yeah. And then your salaries and distributions should be like financial distributions you take for the business should somewhat match that, however you feel comfortable. But I think that percentage really sets the tone for all of that. And then, my second one is, do not think you can decide or make major decisions for people, meaning your family members, based on what you know about them.
Right. It's
So
true.
when making a big decision, whether quitting something or quitting your job or, that was your decision. I hope like you got there on your own. Like just because I know you so well doesn't mean I can like dive
Assume
in
and
make the decision for you. I can tell you what I think and like talk to
Give
you
you
about
advice,
it and
right.
give you advice, but ultimately that decision has to be their decision. Let them
let them
make
Keep
their
going
own
back to
decisions.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
if they're
true.
going to commit to longer hours or commit to something that you're like, oh, I don't know if they can handle this. They want to do it. Let them do it. Let them make the decision. Let them fail or succeed. I'm just talking generally. Like that's because it's really hard with your family to like do that. Right. I don't know. And it goes with employees too. Like that's a good lesson for
Yeah,
anyone, but
definitely.
I think it's really important with family. Number 3 is to, create a contract, which kind of goes in line with number 1, but have a mini board. Like we have our family members who would vote on a decision if should we need to make one at any point. But I think that's
Yeah.
important too. I mean, ours is all of our family members, but I don't know. I just think having that in the articles of organization is really important.
Yeah, definitely.
And then number 4, write up your future plans and business plans, meaning what do you want from the business?
Yeah. And that kind of goes in line with 2 as well.
Right.
Right. Like,
yeah. Right.
because what you want out of the business might be different
Yeah.
than what I want out of the business.
Yeah.
I mean, we've lucked out in that
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Like we always go back to it,
right.
I think.
I agree.
But as long as everyone's on the same page with that and they
Yeah.
know what everyone's motivations are.
Yeah. And I think you have to be outgoing and expressive about what you want out of it too. And just make sure that you have that dialogue with the family.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
everyone understands each other and like what my decision might be different than Lauren's decision because of
Yeah.
long-term goals.
Goals. Exactly.
But
Exactly.
you need to be aware of what everyone
Yes.
wants out of the company.
Wants out of it. Yeah. And those are my 4 points.
Yeah. I like them.
I don't know if we're doing them perfectly.
No, every day's a new
but
learning.
Every day's a new learning. And I think it's fun to think through this topic because it makes me think about everything different, not differently, but like appreciate everything, like take a step outside and look in and think about all the family businesses that have preceded us.
That's crazy. That's really
I
cool.
know. It makes you think about work. It makes me think about work in a very light and, positive way because when we think of work, it's getting on the train and going in and
It's
sitting at
something
a
you
desk.
have to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
But
we don't feel that way.
no, when it's with your family, it's fun, right? Like you get to go to work and like hang out and, I don't know, make it a fun thing versus that like grind.
Yeah.
Which it can be
Like
a grind,
you have
obviously.
to be at your desk
Yeah.
every day until
Yeah.
8:30
Right,
when your
right.
boss leaves.
Yeah. And it goes to show that many other people feel the way we do because there are so many successful family businesses out there.
Well, especially as moms too. I mean, we always go back to this, like wanting to make
Yeah.
our own schedule and everything. To be at a desk from 9 to 8:30 or whatever it is.
Yeah. That's
It's impossible with kids.
It's really, really
There's no
hard.
way.
Yeah. You have to have a primary parent. I always say that word.
Right.
Primary parent who's there. But there's so many good things about it. And it was fun thinking through this and as it relates to our company. So
Yeah. Love it.
anyway, I'm just feeling fresh after spring break.
I know. Speaking of which, it was a slower week while you were gone, but because the boss was gone.
Yeah. I know.
But we did like more operation stuff and like went to visit our warehouse.
Yeah.
We did stuff that I'm usually in charge of.
Yeah,
so
usually you are.
It was good.
Yeah, I know. It sounded like it was like a very good trip. Yeah,
good trip. And
we have a great fulfillment company too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
our fulfillment company is amazing. They're in New Jersey near the Meadowlands. Or is it called the Meadowlands anymore?
I think
Giant
it is.
Stadium.
Yeah, I think
American
it's called,
Dream Hotel.
Oh yeah,
Whatever
mall.
that is, mall.
American Dream Mall. That's still there too, right?
Yeah, I
Oh.
passed it.
Oh, interesting.
But they're great, and we've been with them for a while now. And they like pride themselves on their customer service and like having someone there. Like the first fulfillment company we were with, it was like if you had an issue, you had to submit a ticket, and then someone like across the world would respond in the middle of the night, and it was an issue. So it's nice to have someone who's like on our side, available to us.
Are they a family business?
No, they have brands. The founders of Outer Space, they have their own brand, so they kind of get the startup mentality, entrepreneur mentality. They work with a lot of smaller businesses. So. And
also there's a lot of other businesses where someone starts it and then they hire their family to work with them, which also considered some, family business. I can think of others at the top of my head. I don't know. And then all these ladies out there who are killing it with influencing, and then they hire their husbands.
Yeah, that's right.
That is happening. Yeah, I know, which is great.
our web developer who's been with us since we started, basically.
Yes, family
his
business.
Wife works with him.
Family business.
And when we started working with them, they were just dating, and then they got married. Yeah.
That's how long we've been in business.
Right.
No, but I think that's exactly right. See, it's like little mini family businesses, and it's like it's awesome.
Works.
Yeah. Anyway, well, this was really fun. Stay tuned for our drop, which will be April 1st.
Really good one.
Really, really great drop. And it kind of kicks off our red, white, and blue summer.
What do you think's going to win?
The Marion.
The Marion and red stripe?
Mm-hmm.
I think
predicting
Phoebe with the...
Oh, with the racing stripe down the sleeve?
Yeah, with the racing stripe.
Yeah, that could be good. Yeah.
I like that one.
Well, let's report back.
Yeah, we
will.
When
we have our next episode. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening. We would love a rate and review. And we're back to weekly episodes now.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Yay. Okay. Thanks guys.
Everyone.